All right, hello and welcome back to another video in this series on how to get your first YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers. You can do it. So in this video, I'm going to ask Juke, what type of equipment do we want and do we need to get started? And then where would we like to be once we do get started, and then we can maybe spend a little more.
Yeah. So it does depend on the niche that you are in. I say niche or niche, but I have another channel called Mechanics for Non-Mechanics where I literally, the majority of those videos, I use my cell phone, my smartphone. And so you can, and that channel is going to be monetized in the next few months. So you can do it with literally just a smartphone. Now I'm providing value, of course, in those videos, but anyways, you can use your smartphone. If you have a tripod, you can use like a transition that goes from your phone or adapter that goes from your phone to the tripod, screw it on there, and boom, you're all set up. Um, so that's I'd say on the cheap scenario, you get a
Little phone tripod.
little phone tripod and do it that way. More than that, if you want to go to what most creators that are successful are using, you would get what's called a DSLR camera, which is
Digital single lens resonance something.
former Best Buy employee right there.
Look at that.
So yes, and so that those cameras are going to give you better quality. We are filming on a DSLR right now. I have a DSLR at home. I would recommend you want to get one with autofocus though, okay? That means that if I move this way, his camera is going to pick me up. If I start moving to the right, to the left, his camera is going to pick me up and keep me in focus.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to go for one. I would recommend, I'm a Canon guy. I would recommend for Canon product, maybe an EOS RP, okay, is a camera. And that ran me back when I bought it about $1,000, which is someone might say, oh, wow, that's so expensive. Or some might say, oh, that's not too bad. But when you compare it to some of the other higher end cameras, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 and up, and it gives you autofocus and it gives you a beautiful little picture. I use it all the time. Then the EOS RP is a good option for you. And it's probably even much cheaper now, maybe 600 bucks or something, or you can get it refurbished or on Facebook Marketplace as well.
Can I hop in with
Yeah,
camera?
yeah.
So the camera, I did a lot of research before I got my camera, and I don't care about camera brands. I did see that the autofocus was a pretty big issue, and this has been about a year and a half now. But we got the Sony ZV-E10. You know, I don't get to say that. I really love the camera. It's got a great autofocus. It came with the kind of whitish. You can tell me about lenses because it's
Yeah.
not my thing. Whitish angle lens, which is what gets exactly this set. It's not zoomed into my nose and it's not zoomed out, so you see the ceiling or something. So it came with that, and it is made for vlogging, either carrying it around like on a gimbal, like you mentioned in a previous video, or tripod. So I really love that. I don't even know if it's in production. Last time I checked, they actually had to cancel the production. It just came out.
Hmm.
I got the very last one available in
How much
Hawaii,
did it run you?
about 1,200,
Okay.
but I got it for 4
Oh,
because they
okay.
sold out on the island. We get limited shipments of stuff, and they quit making it because of the COVID chip manufacturing shortages. So they quit
Okay.
making it, and there was a return, and I got the return for like 400 bucks. So when you're talking about
Wow.
buying stuff on the cheap, you can get this stuff on, you can get good stuff pretty inexpensively. But anyway, so Sony ZV-E10 or something similar, they might have a newer model or something, but that works for me, and I really enjoy that. So you can keep going with equipment.
Yeah, and as far as lenses, for the average YouTuber type of video, you want to get a wide angle lens. And look, that can run you anywhere from
Yeah.
a couple $100 to my lens is a $1,800 lens. Okay, the one that I use for vlogging and all of my YouTube stuff. But what that's going to give you, it's going to give you this wide angle. It's going to be able to capture all of this stuff. You don't want it too wide to where it makes you look like you have a bubble around you, but you want, say, a 15, the lens that I use is a 15 to 35 millimeter, and it is what's called it is an L series Canon lens, but which is a top notch. It has a little red ring around it. It's top notch lens. And there's a lot with lenses, and we don't have to get into all that. 50 mm lens, a prime, is a cheaper lens that you can get that I love. It's a few $100s, and it gives you a nice crisp picture. And so I would recommend as well, if you don't really care about the background, but you just want to get close-ups, maybe getting a 50 mm lens. That'll be really good for you. And I think, Brett, you have a couple other things that are really cool, which allow you to do this setup. I don't know if you want to.
This setup, what do you mean part of this setup?
Well, like you have your well, you have that cool little battery thing. That's cool.
Yeah, I've got a little, so in my camera, because you usually have like a rechargeable battery for like $10. I got I got sick of re-putting the battery in, and the battery's dying while I'm filming videos, because I just sit here all day and film videos.
Yeah.
So I got it's like a battery, and it's got a cord coming out of it. I don't exactly know what it's called, but that cord just plugs into the wall.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to charge the battery, and I just literally just turn the camera on. It's got unlimited power from the house. So that's great.
And Brett has a cool thing where he can literally just click.
This is Zoom.
Yeah, using Zoom,
Yeah.
he connects it to his camera, and he doesn't have to press record on his camera, which
Yeah.
is really cool. He's got a nice microphone here.
Yeah.
Which is
We'll
good.
talk about mics in maybe in the next video.
Okay.
Oh no, we're talking about, what are we talking about?
Equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So firstly, before we move off of cameras, I do want to say we're talking about hundreds of dollars. And I remember, again, when I started, it was like $100 was a quarter of my rent. We didn't have like a spending budget. I wasn't even going out to eat or anything. So it's like $100. Yeah, totally, sweetheart. Just go spend $100, couple $100 on one lens, and then
Right.
spend $1,000 on camera. What do you do when you're starting and you're bootstrapping it and you've got to make it happen? What I used and what worked really well for me, again, if you want to check it out, go over to that first Google Grant video that I filmed. And I used a Logitech. It was a $70 webcam. And I think there's a $40 version too. And that also does HD. So you can get 30, 40 bucks, 70 bucks. You can get a webcam that will work, plug it into your computer. And that is like, a little better than the camera in your computer. You could start with that too, honestly. But that's what I started with. And I really splurged, and I spent 70, and that lasted a long time, and got us a long way. And then we upgraded. So just to let you know, there are obviously less expensive options. So the one that I'm looking at, I just looked it up while Juke was talking. The Logitech C920X HD Pro webcam films in full HD. So that is great. You don't need 4K to start. 70 bucks. You can even get the $30 or $40 version. That would be fine too. And that just clips right onto the top of your computer right here. Better camera. So that's an option there. Do you want to talk about microphones?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, you could do a setup like this, like Brett has, or you could use a lapel mic. I use a lapel mic.
What's a lapel mic?
Lapel mic, it connects, it clips on to your shirt, okay, about 6 inches below your mouth. And it's black, so I usually wear a black shirt with it, so it just really doesn't even show up. And then it's connected by a wire into a little tape into a recorder. So I'm not actually using the audio from my camera,
Right.
but I'm using the lapel audio. That's next level stuff. If you just want to do it on your phone, you can do it that way. But
Yeah.
next level is to have a separate audio track for your audio.
And you may be able to get away with some like little Apple earbuds or some kind of headphone with a mic if you're like really just starting out. But so even this, this is a $200 mic, and this does the same thing as the lapel mic. And you'll notice the audio is really good. This is a Yeti Blue.
Yeah.
And by blue, they're all called blue, and some of them are not blue. So that's kind of weird. But either way, this brings the microphone away from the camera, because if we're talking and the camera is over, back where you're watching us from, you're not going to hear anything. It's going to be muffled.
Yeah.
And so his lapel mic gets right up there, and that's great if you're moving around. You'll see a lot of YouTubers and podcasters using something like this because, it just stays here. I personally like this for the teaching only because, and I know you have one of these too.
I have one.
Only
I like it. This is my first time really experimenting with. I like it.
Yeah. And I like it because it's just always plugged in, and I come in, I open Zoom, I'm filming in Zoom. This is not like a super uber professional setup. Like we pay for a Zoom subscription, and I just film here in Zoom.
It's awesome.
I hit record, and it's all here, set up, and I just start talking.
Yeah.
So that's microphone options. So that's that. Any other, what did we talked about lighting, we talked about cameras, we talked about microphone.
I guess editing, there's a free, I use a paid software called
Ah,
Adobe Premiere, which if you don't know how to use it, all this stuff is on YouTube. Look it up how
yeah.
to use it, or you can do Final Cut, or you can do a there's plenty of free softwares out there. I've heard Shotcut is a free software, and there's other ones out there you can use as well.
Yep. And I would say, so for me, so Juke is definitely more advanced than me in the editing. And I really don't like video editing because of the amount of time it absorbs. And with
Yeah.
the other things I'm doing, I actually just don't have the time. So I would have to hire an editor. Let me know if you're for,
Yeah.
if you're set. No, but so for me, I'm still using the Get Better. If we started with the Get Better,
Mhm.
I'm still with the Get Better editor.
Mhm.
It's free. I'm not paying for an editor. I don't do it enough. I do it, and I have to clean a couple things up, but I keep it fast and I just keep it. I mean, you guys have seen the videos in here. We're just getting you the content, and then we'll build from there.
Mhm. It's
And
great.
so the editor that I use is OpenShot, and it's good. Sometimes a little slow on the loading, but it works great and
Mhm.
totally free. And that's open source, OpenShot that works on Windows. I don't know about Mac. So, anything else? Lighting, DSLRs, anything else?
Microphones.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think that's
that's
it.
it.
All right. So I think that brings us to the end of this video on YouTube equipment. And we're going to keep going in the next video with the next
I'll say one
question.
other thing.
Yeah, yeah,
One
yeah.
other thing might be like a laptop or something to edit on.
Yeah, that's true.
You can find on the cheap, or you can
Yeah.
get. I have a MacBook Pro, um, which if you want to spend, Apple's, they're kind of top notch with all that stuff.
Yep.
Or you can get something, something cheaper. That's a PC. They're generally a lot cheaper. Or you can just edit on your phone. A lot of people just edit
Sometimes you
on their
can.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I would recommend if you have the ability, and I do this with my computers because I don't want to spend. The thing is, as video gets bigger, you have to process more information. So when
Yeah,
you move from 1080 to 4K, anybody who wants to edit 4K has got to get a new computer.
you do.
So what I would say is if you have the ability, if you are going to spend money on something, get a good processor.
Yes.
And so what I have done, and I mean, I have like spent probably more than I should have. Everything else as cheap as possible. I want to make sure my computer's good for at least 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
And that is hard to do. So when I bought this computer, this is like a $3,000 or $4,000 computer,
Wow.
but I got 64 gigs of RAM. I
Wow.
got max storage. I wanted to make sure I had it because I don't want to have to spend
You
in a
do.
year because I can't process the
Mhm.
stuff I need to process.
Yeah.
So the programs are getting bigger and you got to process more stuff. The next thing to come down the pike, as we talked about in the YouTube videos that we'll also have in these courses with Juke, is the AI. There's going to be locally stored AI. So your computer is going to have to be able to process AI. Well, that's next level. So if you can get a computer that's better than what you need for today so that your videos can your processing ability can grow a little bit over time because it is going to get a little heavier to process. So that's been my recommendation. Anything else?
No.
All right, cool. So that wraps it up for this video on stuff you need
Equipment.
equipment
Yeah.
you need to do professional stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. God bless.